Welcome to the Political Matrix News. We have the sources, we have the truth from inside the political matrix. We cover everything in Florida we possibly can. We're making comments off air, but don't worry about that. This is the Political Matrix News. Rob Milford along with Scott Miller holding that on the fort in Pensacola. Greg Fink trying to keep Gainesville on the straight and level, which is... I don't know how you do it, man. I mean, when he moved there, he was 6'4". Now he's down to 5'8", to give you an idea how much it beats you up in that part of the world. And I would be taking care of business in Orlando. What's the difference between a basketball and Kamala Harris? Anybody? Bueller? Yes, you're right.
I don't know, Bueller.
The difference is that basketballs bounce and Kamala Harris doesn't. Scott Miller, tell us what you know about the post-convention polling.
Well, for me, it wasn't even the post-convention. Traditionally, candidates will get 5, sometimes even 10-point bounce. That'll sort out a little bit after a couple weeks after the convention. But Kamala, she didn't get really any discernible bounce, maybe 2 or 3 points in reliable polls, but that only lasted through the middle of the convention. And normally, there's a little bit of a high going, a little euphoria going on for a few days after the convention. No, not for Kamala. The middle of the convention, she plateaued and started going down before she even got an opportunity to talk.
And what happened then? She talked the next day.
And then she started talking. But I've known the whole time that as soon as she became when Biden was the candidate, I was hoping that he was going to drop out, and then that was going to leave her as the de facto candidate. I'm like, please give me that candidate.
Beg for that, and we got our win.
And here we are. We got our win, and she is starting to talk, and they're starting to drop Kamala policy, and it is having a very predictable effect.
I mean, there are a lot of polls out there that are asking women about their women who are pro-choice and pro-life and everything about their stances, and a lot of the single-issue women are only voting for her because of that one issue. On every other issue, they're not. And so I think one thing with the Republican Party making, I think, the abortion issue a statewide issue, I think that's one thing actually probably blew the sails all the way out of the Kamala Harris's, the whole idea that, the Republican Party is trying to ban abortion altogether. There's no banning of abortion, especially whenever it's in 50 different states. You can't ban it.
Exactly.
I mean, the whole idea of banning abortion would keep it federal. The whole idea that he made it non-federal made it to where you can choose in your own state. It negates the entire theory of banning abortion nationwide. And so, so all those voters out there who are wondering about Kamala Harris, all they're doing is baiting and switching with you guys. Like, I mean, her entire socialist policy and big government policy, is just totally ridiculous and out of line with any kind of order at all. And I think it's great that her poll numbers are still just hovering right where they're hovering at. I mean, they're not going up really high at all. They're not going down really low at all, but they're hovering. And right now, I think in real clear politics, she's 1.2 points ahead of Trump, nationwide. 1.2 points ahead. And she's the incumbent. Now we have Ukraine attacking Russia. She's the incumbent. Now we have Russia talking about nuclear weapons. She's the incumbent. Biden's not going to make a damn decision on any of this. And if they dare put Biden out there to make a decision, it's going to backfire on her so quick.
Well, the other thing I wanted to, I'll stay on that because one of the shows today said the October surprise, which would be bigger than Biden dropping out of the race, is Biden dropping out of the presidency the 1st of October. And that makes her the incumbent president of the United States.
Please.
I
long for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Why is
that? Because that incumbent power, that incumbent power really only plays when you've got a good record. She doesn't, and B, when you don't have opponents who have the capability of matching your bully pulpit, which she does have one who is capable of commanding much larger crowds than her.
It's a bigger plane.
And he has a bigger plane. but I mean, at the end of the day, Trump's, she's giving this peace, love, and happiness little vibe, or trying to, that nobody is buying. You go to you want to see peace, love, and happiness, go to a Trump rally where people are really, really happy.
Yeah, I mean,
you go to a Democrat rally and all they're talking about is how much they hate Trump.
I mean, it's so ironic. I mean, even Jon Stewart put it out there in the most honest way about you had a billionaire being followed by Bernie attacking billionaires, and you had guys attacking guys who went to Yale. You had a whole bunch of people who went to Yale. I mean, you had Kamala Harris talking about sex predators, and then you had Bill Clinton talking, who's been accused, and accusations and impeachment and everything else. I mean, the entire world. The entire world that they are on. I mean, I would beg for her to be the incumbent. In fact, it couldn't get any better. I don't think.
Okay.
I mean, the reality is, Earth to everybody. She already is the incumbent. Okay, she's been running everything for the last year and a half already. So why the fuck is it going to be any different?
I don't think she's been running. I think the staff's been running it. But the fact of the matter is,
Obama
the fact. Yeah, the fact of the matter is that if it weren't for hypocritical talking points, they'd have no talking points at all.
I mean, Valerie Jarrett, Obama, I mean, basically a lot of the staff from the Obama team and everything has been running things along with the Biden administration, which I think a lot of them more or less piggybacked on. I don't know how they're getting paid, but, I'm sure they got their ways of doing that, violating campaign finance law and everything else. Who knows?
Right.
If they're not officially on the campaign, anyone can pay them for anything.
That's true. Yeah, that's
there you
true.
go.
They pay for anything.
All right. So the other poll, I believe that one of you mentioned, was the new poll showing that men of a certain age are conservative.
Under 35.
What?
Under 35 are conservative, are getting
No
more
way.
conservative. And
No.
in fact, they're looking at policies. Economic policy is the number one issue, and because they're looking for jobs. And so, I mean, and then the democracy issue is their number two issue. And so the whole idea of the safety of the democracy. With women, it's a little different. It's abortion number one. In fact, abortion is number 7 in this poll here. And so
Are there any other surprises as you look around?
I think a lot of surprises are how close they are in the Midwest. So,
well, I want to tell you, if you really want to see something eye-opening, go to, what is it, 270
538
to win? No, 270 to win or something like that.
Okay.
It shows the electoral map, and instead of just doing polls, it shows how the polls for various states, including the battleground states, are lamping out. And Trump is leading in all those. I mean, there are, I think, 88 votes left between them that are unallocated. But she's going to need all of them to beat Trump. And the fact of the matter is some of those are states like Georgia and some of the Southwest states, that really are on the fence, like really on the fence because of the invasion of the Biden, of the Biden border invasion.
But I think with Brian Kemp's going to really help push over the whole Georgia issue, because now you got the entire Kemp machine behind Trump now, and they've made up and they're all good to go. So I think it's going to really, really help Trump here in Georgia. And I think even Kelly, who is it? Mark Kelly is the senator of Arizona. He's actually saying now that the border issue is too much of a crisis and that it needs help now. And before that, he's playing it off as not being as big of a deal. But now, I mean, it's just getting out of control. And he's actually saying that, they need it now. They need the border bill passed quickly. And so I think that, that's one thing they're going to work on. And that's one thing I think we're going to talk about a little bit later. But in that border bill is the funding to go ahead and finish the wall. And so basically, I think it's ironic that I know it's already been appropriated, but still, they want to keep the appropriations there to go ahead and finish the wall that Trump started. So thank you. And I think we're going to have a commercial about that here in the next segment, I think.
Okay. Now, the other thing is the stolen issues, because Trump, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, after the Republican convention, almost immediately, no, you know what? It goes back about 6 weeks, pre-convention. no tax on tips. No tax on tips. All right. I work in the hospitality. My primary gig in Orlando is the hospitality industry. More than half of the company I work for has people who live on tips. That got their attention big time. But then Kamala Harris came out just in the last week saying no tax on tips, but she's making it sound like it was her idea. And she's drowning. No. She's drenched in all the coverage, all the ooey gooey flavor of the week coverage that the media is giving upon her. And then just in the last couple of days, Kamala Harris says we need to have a border wall. Up until 8 weeks ago, Kamala Harris referred to the border wall. Maybe this is early in the administration, and they just ignored it ever since, which sounds about right. She referred to it as the President Trump's vanity project, her vanity project. But now, with all the tax money she's going to raise, she's going to finish the border wall.
That narrative started when she was Senator Harris.
Exactly. I mean, and technically, it's in the border bill. I mean, the funding for the wall is in the bill already. However, I think the biggest reason nobody's talking about why the bill didn't pass was because they had more money going to Ukraine than they had going to the fucking border.
No. I mean, that was an important part. But for me, probably the best reason it didn't pass was because it basically codified that the current levels of border crossings were acceptable.
Exactly.
None of the prohibitions that they were talking about, none of the things that made it a strong border bill kicked in until they dramatically exceeded the current levels of people crossing the border.
And so in order to make that border bill work and to make it to where it's feasible, they have to actually have funding in it, more so for the border than for any other damn country outside the nation. I mean, if we're talking about defending our borders and defending our country, and it's actually named that, the priority, the majority of the funding should go to that and not to anything else. Period.
I mean, if we're going to fund another country, we need to fund some sort of conservative group in Mexico. Maybe then we get some benefit out of it.
I mean, give them their own bill. I mean, I have no idea why everyone wants to piggyback all the money and just one big bill. I mean, I know why, but
it's money.
It's just ridiculous.
It's money
up there.
It's OPM. It's other people's money. Come on.
Exactly.
It's hard for other people to veto when or vote against when it's got something that their constituents are in favor of.
Especially when it comes to bunnies or puppies. They have
right.
They got $1 million for a puppy park.
What?
God.
$1 million for a puppy?
I'm sure there's stupid bills like that.
What congressman writes this shit up and puts it in and it goes somewhere? I mean, the idea that the president have line item veto gets better every time Congress puts out a budget. Oh, wait a minute, we haven't had a balanced budget in since the years of Bill
90s.
Clinton, if memory serves me correctly, right?
And John Kasich.
Well, I mean, if you want to see the things that are killing the budget, it's things like, what is it, $8 billion that they put for charging stations?
Yeah, exactly.
And Biden said he was going to build some 2,000 or 3,000 charging stations, and they spent $8 billion, and they wind up with 8.
It really is. And I was being silly about the puppy parks, but it is about parks and bridges to nowhere and different things that just basically ingratiate people's egos and their donors' egos and everything else in different areas. Those are all the things that are really fucking up the budget. Totally. Period. I mean, not necessities about, how the government's supposed to be running.
Yeah, it's really disappointing. We keep electing these people, and they keep doing a shit job. And
spending more.
Where do you begin? We're going to talk more when we come back in the next segment. We haven't mentioned Matt Gaetz yet. I would love to do a week where we don't mention Matt Gaetz at all. But now the international press has taken and started paying attention to what Matt Gaetz looks like. And we will certainly mention that and show the story from a British newspaper. It's a newspaper, People magazine gossip sheet. And even they wonder, what the hell happened to Matt Gaetz?
Then we have Zuckerberg also.
Oh, and Zuckerberg. So Gaetz,
don't forget about Zuckerberg.
We've got it all. Please like us. Please subscribe to us, and feel free to make a few comments. We'll appreciate them. We may laugh about them, but we will appreciate them. At least we know you're out there. On behalf of Scott and Greg, I'm Rob, and this is the Political Matrix News.